This is the absolute saddest day of my life. All I wanted to do was make a bunch of ender chests. I made an obsidian farm using chunk loaders and a hopper clock, and that actually went amazingly because look how much obsidian we made from that. But tragedy struck. To make an ender chest, you need eyes of ender. And to make eyes of ender, you need ender pearls and blaze powder. So I made an AFK-able blaze farm. And you know what happened? I AFK'd overnight and starved to death. But my auto clicker did not care in the slightest. Except this time, instead of swinging his sword, it clicked the respawn button. But it did not stop there. No, it did not stop there. The auto clicker clicked the respawn button, and I respawned next to my bed, facing towards the window. And I killed Curtis Jr. in my sleep. The other hitchhikers took the string from me and renamed it Curtis Jr. 2022 to 2022. After all the trouble I went to make a missing cat poster for my missing son. Rest in peace, Curtis Jr. Gone, but never forgotten. What are you looking at? Anyway, but today we have some plans. I am here in my villager trade hall. You hardly see me come in here anymore, and that's because I do most of everything that I do in here off camera. I've mostly been coming up to the armorers and the toolsmiths and the weaponsmith to trade iron for emeralds, but I just discovered something last week. As you guys may know, I have a guardian farm literally right over there with a surplus of ink sacks, and I discovered that librarians actually trade ink sacks for emeralds, and I have, like I said, a surplus of them, and I've been trading for emeralds and name tags, trying to build up quite the collection. And you know, this isn't a full box or anything, but it's certainly quite a lot of name tags. These things are usually 20 emeralds per name tag, and now I'm getting them for 1, which is super exciting. And you know, I trade 12 ink sacks for 12 emeralds and then 12 emeralds for 12 name tags. I think it works out pretty well. Except this guy, he won't refresh his trades for some reason, and I'm not sure why. We'll have to figure that out at some point. But otherwise, I'm inclined to say I'm making some pretty good profits here off of these villagers. Every time I've cured zombie villagers in the past, the trades have only ever gone down once, and that's what we're seeing here on some of these villagers. Is we have the one-time zombification curing process, which reduced their trades like 20 emeralds to 15, for example, for 1 name tag. And it's never worked for me to be able to get beyond that. For example, these villagers have just finished being cured and their name tag prices just went down to 8 emeralds per name tag, which is really awesome. And this has actually never worked for me before, so this is really a game changer on my end. In fact, we're gonna make these villager prices go down a little bit lower. So far, I have 6 librarians that have been cured all the way so that name tags are actually 1 emerald per name tag, but a few of them, their prices are still pretty hefty. And actually, before I forget, I do want to show you guys something. I have developed my own armor statues book. It has a section for quick functions, and these are things that I do very often that are a little bit repetitive. So for example, something that I often do for my armor stands is I'll set their pose preset to attention and I'll turn off gravity. And what this does is it removes all rotations on the pose, but it also makes it so that the armor stand cannot fall. So now there's like a button that does both of those things for me. Same thing with lock, hide, and set it to marker. I can now display a target or all targets within 5 blocks. And I have a couple other pose presets, some block, item, and tool presets. I could swap items with the offhand, head, torso, legs, and feet. This is super important because normally when you put armor on an armor stand, what it'll do is it'll go directly onto the body part that armor is associated with, but now we can swap it with the hand. So for example, you can get the elytra as an item rather than as a sort of cape looking thing, and I can show you that right now. So for example, if I put this elytra on the armor stand, you'll see it shows up as sort of like a cape, and it doesn't show up as the item, which might not be what you want. So I have this quick function here. We can swap the main hand with the torso item, and there we go. We now have it in item form inside the armor stand's hand. I also added a couple other things too. If we go to style toggles here, we can actually make our armor stands glow, and we can turn them to be burning on fire, which is very nice. So both of these are really cool visual effects that you might be able to add onto your stands, which I think is really nice, especially the burning one. I have a couple ideas coming up for what we can do with this. Like for example, if you wanted to make a funeral pyre, or if you wanted to use fire particle effects in your armor statue work, you could definitely do that now. Unfortunately, it is only in the center of the body, so of course arms are not going to be on fire. And if you rotate any of the other limbs, for example the torso, you'll see that the flame does not follow it. It's literally just starting from the bottom up to the top. If you do make the stand small though, the fire will shrink, which is nice. We also have some extra position adjustments. For example, we can now nudge half a pixel and a full block over. And I also added in these things. We can actually select multiple stands at once to move them instead of only moving one at a time. And so that'll look something like this. So let me go ahead and set up a bunch of stands here. And what I'll do is I will continuously choose the select option, and we'll start to see them glow a red color, as you can see here. And then once all of them are selected, if we go back to nudge, we can choose which option we want to do. So for example, I want to go one block to, I don't know, let's go plus X. So they all move plus X, as you can see. And if we move too far away, they will get deselected. We could also use this deselect all button to, of course, deselect all of them. We also have an option to teleport a stand to a player. We can move it away from the player or towards the player. We have some rotation adjustments. We now have a full 180 degrees that we can rotate it, and some presets for having it face cardinal direction, have it face to the player or away from the player. For the pose adjust, it's pretty much the same thing as it used to be for the regular armor statue book. In the utilities option, we now have the ability to copy sign text and paste sign text. So for example, I have this crimson sign right here. It has no text on it, but if I use the statues book on this sign right here, let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll do copy, and then if we come over here, we can paste it, and there we go. Now it says nothing in here. Now we don't have to worry about the sign's color or glowing effect to go over here as well. It's only going to copy the text. It's not going to copy the color or the glowing effect. You still will have to dye the text, and you will have to use the glowing ink sac on it if you want to copy that over as well. It's more useful for things that you have a lot of signs that are going to say the exact same thing. Now this new book is going to be extremely important. As you guys know, I love making armor statue work, and I'm inclined to say that I'm pretty good at it. And this upcoming month, October, I plan on doing something similar to Inktober, where you have 31 prompts in 31 days. So one day, one prompt. And I was originally going to use the Inktober prompts, but they weren't as autumnal as I wanted them to be. They were very all over the place in my opinion. So I decided to make my own prompt list, and what my plan is I'm going to go through every single day of October and make a singular armor stand creation. I've been putting in a ton of practice to make sure that I'm ready for this event. On Twitter, you can use the hashtag ArmorStandOctober to share your creations, and I will be doing the same. And my plan is to actually share your armor stand creations in a video on this channel. So if that sounds appealing to you, or if you just want the challenge, I highly suggest you do it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see what everybody comes up with. The link for the prompts will be in the description below, so definitely check that out. And that'll be starting on October 1st. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot more time to continue making this episode. I'm actually starting a new job on Monday, and I want to make sure I get all of this content out before next week. I will give you a little bit of a sneak peek though. I have been working on the interior for Rusty's build. It looks the same as you last saw it because I haven't been working on it in the survival server. However, if we were to hop into the creative server, you will find that I have been working tirelessly to create an amazing atmosphere of wonder and bewilderment. Look how amazing this looks. Sometimes the armor stands will hide the items they're holding. I'm not sure what I can do about that, but this looks absolutely incredible. I'm really happy with how all of this turned out, and I love the little drips from the crying obsidian and all of that. It's just looking absolutely wonderful. Overall, I am really happy with how this turned out. I had some mushrooms here and there, some floating candles, and then obviously I added the crying obsidian and skull veins to make it look like there's something spreading up here. And up here there's also like a spore blossom. This is giving it a lot of particles that are floating around, dropping down from the ceiling. I honestly think this looks really, really cool. And when I showed it to Rusty, he really liked it too. So at some point, I'll be bringing this into the survival world, into our shopping district. But on that note, I think that is going to do it for today's episode. I know it was pretty short in comparison to some of my other episodes, but I thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell to get notified if I upload a video. And remember, if you're not following already, please consider following me on Twitter, Instagram, and supporting me on Patreon, all at CurtisDoesADig. You can also join our Discord server, link will be in the description below, and definitely check out that prompt list for Armor Stand October. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Have a good one!